Welcome to From the Wings. Today I have two very special guests with me. Euphoria now ranks as the second most watched show in all of HBO's history. We couldn't even get through it.
They're not portraying it as a negative lifestyle.
So it is beautiful to watch, and I hated that.
I feel like that was Satan's attack. He's like, hey, we're going to make this so great, and we're going to have all these millions of people watching us, and we're even going to make fun of who you say your God is all at the same time. But I'm going to tell you that you have to be more careful than you ever knew that you needed to.
I would say, do you think that this show, if it went on to show more of the ugliness of this sort of lifestyle, and it did present it in a really bad way and wanted people not to desire to have that, do you think that that would be enough to redeem the fact that this show exists?
I do not. Rebecca?
I do.
I knew you were going to say that.
Perfect.
Because it was so outrageous. I mean, it was so... The Holy Spirit in me could not watch it.
Yeah. Similar to redeeming love. I would say if the Holy Spirit's in you, there are things that we should not be putting in our view and putting in our hearts. But I would say for non-believers, I think it would be okay if this exists. But you would say, would you say yes
I would
or no?
still say no.
Why?
It's like because of big... I feel like it crossed the line. It makes it seem like it's normal, and I don't think
But
that...
I think it is.
You think every teenager you know
Not
has
every.
that kind of life.
Not every, but I think way more than
A
we...
lot more.
I do
believe.
agree that more people... To that extent, though?
Maybe not to that extent, but I think, like, maybe not involved in, like,
Aspects
every
of it.
single... Yes, but at least probably every teenager is tempted to get involved with at least one of those aspects.
She says, no, it should not be out there. I say, let your sinners sin, you know?
Yeah.
I think it can even be beneficial for believers, too.
Okay. You have Rebecca controversy? Me and Reba just scoot away? Why?
Why?
I think that because Christian teens are protected so much from this sort of lifestyle that it is actually much more interesting to them and much more, like, you know, that's just like
Tantalizing.
yes, that unknown world, and it's like, I can't be there, so now I want it.
So my question would be, where is the believer's responsibility when it comes to media? You kind of touched on it when you said, is this something that's going on? And Katie's like, yeah, like this is definitely, all of these things are prevalent. So as believers, I think there might be two camps and maybe a middle camp, but I'm not sure, on how do we react and how are we supposed to interface with media and the world's media, I guess I'm saying. So I guess the first camp would be getting out of Broadway, getting out of, what's it called, Hollywood, removing ourselves. We're not watching Disney, we're not watching Harry Potter, we're not watching anything that our morals are not aligned with.
Okay.
The opposite side is we have to be in it. And kind of to say what Katie mentioned before, she said in music therapy, you're not supposed to be shocked by anything, but to not be shocked by things, either you have to have amazing self-control or you were exposed to it before. What would you say?
I would definitely go toward the second option that you said. Just because it is so hard to minister to people when you don't understand. If you don't know what they're talking about, if you haven't had any sort of glimpse into what that's like, you have not much to offer them.
That's part of the problem. We get so dogmatic about what is right and what's wrong that sometimes we can't see reality on the other side because we've closed ourselves off to what we're doing over here. Maybe we're so innocent that we just can't, but then we can't do what you said. We can't reach out to other people and really understand either. You know? I do believe that there is a place for arts. I think arts do teach. I think it's important, but I think you have to be careful and you have a responsibility. I think me putting on a show that has to do with drug addiction and glorifying it is a problem for somebody who might fight with that in the audience. And so I have a responsibility to make sure that when I portray something that could be harmful to your health, it doesn't even have to be whether it's a sin or not a sin. You could be doing something that is dangerous.
Yeah.
Like
purging your body of drugs.
Right, exactly. So all of that, I have a responsibility as a Christian. So yes, I believe I have a responsibility to be in the know for what's going on, because if I don't know what a certain trend is, then how can I even innocently have a conversation or have the responsibility to make a decision whether something I'm doing is wise or not wise?
Yeah.
No, I think like I now have a more purposeful idea of like why I fill my mind with what I fill my mind with and what I watch and things like that. And I don't know, I don't have kids, but it's made me think of like, would I let my kids watch this certain thing, or you know?
And the answer is
No.
right?
It keeps reminding me that believers have such different God-given standards than non-believers.
That's good though, right?
It's eye-opening. And I
Yeah.
think a lot of times, though, believers, we get stuck in our worldview and what we are called to, and then we can kind of shell ourselves off from the world instead of I want to quote it perfectly because I'm a missionary and I should, but being in the world but not of the world.
Yeah.
And I think the idea is a lot of times we're like, oh no, we're actually not even in the world. We're going to be our own little people. So I think this idea like keeps opening my mind to, oh no, this could be someone's reality. Like this could be what people are going through and what they're struggling with, and they want to feel nothing. And I think for me as a believer, it just encourages me more to want to learn more about it, because the more I learn about them, the more I want to love them. And the way I want to love them is by showing them Christ.
So what I love about that is going back to the old saying, which I probably said on here several times already, but it's really interesting that maybe man meant it for evil, but God meant it for good.
Amen.
And so with that, unless you guys have something else to add, we are thankful that you joined us again today. If you like the content that you see here today, we hope that you will follow us or subscribe to our YouTube channel. And until next time, this is just me
And me.
And me.
talking to you from the wings.